And welcome back to another CbbTalk with your boy Will Dickinson. It's a Monday here. Christmas break has, I guess, begun. It begun last episode, but it's begun officially today. We had a really good weekend here, and it's crazy. I'm looking at my top 25. No team came out of the top 25, but no team made its way in. But we had a lot of movement within the top 25, and we had a lot of good games that we previewed on the weekend, and we're going to just do a recap here because the next 2 days has one or two decent games that we can talk about at the end, but mostly it's going to be recapping what went down over the weekend. Let's start on Friday where we had UConn Gonzaga. UConn handled business, winning by 13, dominant first half. Really didn't even need to go full throttle. Really didn't even need to step in the gas there. The second half, they were on cruise control, winning this game pretty easily over the Zags. I think the biggest problem was the Zags in this one. They don't have a lot of guard depth. Besides Nolan Hickman and Ryan Nembhard, they're kind of fucked when these guys aren't playing. I think that's the biggest problem for them. We see that they played 39 and 40 minutes respectively, and Dusty Stromer's playing 37 as a freshman, so they don't have guard depth, and they're gonna have to. I mean, at this point, you're gonna have to somehow address that. Like, I don't know how you can, but once you get into some easier games in West Coast Conference play, I think you can maybe figure that out a little bit and get more reps into your backup guards because you're gonna need that down the stretch. And it looked like just looked like UConn wore out the Zags. They made it like a point to get Klingon the ball early and often. 21, looking like he's back to being fully healthy. This was his best game. Cam Spencer, very good first half. And they even need Tristan Newton to have a great game. He had 9 and 5 in this one. Diarra off the bench had a good game. Didn't need a whole lot of Stephon Castle either. So I think this UConn team's looking really good. And I moved them up to number 2 in the country. One loss at Kansas, and I get it. Kansas beat them, so should Kansas be higher? I could understand where you're coming from with that, but the reason I don't have Kansas higher is because that was a home game for Kansas, and UConn kept it really close. And I like UConn's resume better. I think UConn's a better team right now. The Huskies look dangerous, and they may be able to go back to back. That's how well they're playing. The Zags, I dropped them number 20. I don't know if they have that gear, that second gear that it can get to this year, like they've had in the past. So I'm a little worried for Gonzaga, but they should be able to win their conference and get right. And by the end of the year, they'll probably be a top 15 team just because they won't probably lose many more games. But let's get on to Saturday. Kansas at Indiana was a very good game. Kansas down 8 at half, rallies back, wins in the clutch there. Kevin McCullough had a huge 3. They make free throws at the end. Indiana couldn't get back at the end of the game, couldn't get the stops when they needed to. And yeah, Kevin McCullough struggled shooting the ball most of the game, hit a big 3, and got to the line 16 times, had 21 points. Hunter Dickinson also struggled in that first half a lot, came alive in that second half. K-Jams had 14-1, Harris 15. Not a lot of bench production from the Jayhawks in this one, but did not matter. Indiana looked very strong in that first half there, but also had really no bench points either. We had a good game there from Trey Galloway. 28 for Trey in this one. Very good. And Mbako, 14, but I really think he didn't do much in that second half there. Chloe and Renew both had 12, but again, nothing really off the bench for the Hoosiers. I thought Indiana played a very good game there. This is a tough environment to go into if you're Kansas. Kansas is now 4th team in the nation for me. This was, again, tough game to go into and play. Indiana had it rocking there, even with it being winter break. But at the end of the day, Kansas is the better team, and they pulled out a win. It wasn't easy. You're going on the road in tough environment. Down 8 at half, you could have easily folded. Indiana could have pulled away. Great fight from the Jayhawks, shows the potential of this team, and they look like the best team in the Big 12. so far this year. Very good win for the Jayhawks in that one. Baylor, rough game there for the Bears. Michigan State gets finally gets a signature win, blowout victory, and hand Baylor its first loss. Very unexpected. Tyson Walker, an efficient 25 in this one, didn't miss a three. AJ Hogard had 14 as well. Holloman, 11 off the bench. They had their depth come in and be a factor today. Xavier Booker, 7 points in 8 minutes there. They were efficient shooting the ball. They didn't take too many threes, and they made them when they took them. They got down transition and only allowed 17 points in the first half there. So it was pretty smooth sailing in that second half. It wasn't a home game, but pretty much was for the Bears in this one. For the Spartans, Baylor. I had Baylor ranked 6th. They were undefeated. You had to respect their resume. They have one good wins against Auburn this year, so I dropped Baylor to 18th in the nation. I know it's a steep drop for the Bears, but they're clearly a worse team than Oklahoma so far this year. So I got them behind Kansas, Houston, Oklahoma in the Big 12. Now I got them 4th in the Big 12. Very good win for Michigan State. They needed it. They go to 5-5, but it could have been disaster being 4-6. So it keeps an at-large resume alive. Going in the Big 10 play. I'm not sure if they have any more big games in non-league play, but a big win for Michigan State there. Yeah, rough game for Baylor. Just didn't have anything going in the first half, and you score 47 points in the second half. You think that could be enough to win, but you still lose by 24 because Michigan State dominated that first half, and Baylor just didn't look ready to play, which is a little bit of a problem for Scott Drew's teams. But look, 9-1, still look pretty good. Houston ends up going to 11-0, remaining undefeated, giving Texas A&M its 4th loss. A lot of people high on Texas A&M to start this year, including me, and they just haven't lived up to the hype now, dropping their 4th game. Is it Eli Sharp, Emmanuel Sharp? He had 21 in this one for Houston. Wade Taylor, 34, had over half the team's points in this one. Needed someone else to step up for the Aggies, and they just didn't. And look, Texas A&M was not great in non-league play last year. Maybe they can figure out an SEC play right now, but they don't have a great at-large resume at the moment. And yeah, Houston just dominated. Their starters dominated this game. Texas A&M made it close in the second half, played very well. Wade Taylor was really hot in that one with 34, but no one else scores double digits there for the Aggies. Juwan Roberts, Jamal Shed, LJ Cryer, Emmanuel Sharp, all with over 10 points in this one. I like how Houston's playing. This was a first good test for them, and they ended up getting the win there. Going in the Big 12 play, I'm not sure how Houston's going to fare, but they're going to be in the tournament. 11-0, great start for them this year. If you're Kelvin Sampson, you gotta love that you're undefeated. Only 4 undefeated teams left in the nation, and you're one of them. You're looking good, but Big 12 play is going to be tough. There's a lot of good teams in the Big 12, and this is your first year in it. But so far, looking good for the Cougars, and they look like a Final Four caliber team. Good win for them. I have Houston ranked, I believe, 5th. Yep, 5th in the nation. They didn't move up or down this week. Clemson suffered its first loss of the year to Memphis. PJ Hall, 21. They had a 7-point lead going in the half on the road. Memphis claws back and wins. Good game from David Jones, 22. Quinterly was clutch with 17 in this one. Again, experienced Memphis team gets another win at home. PJ Hall, 21. Did his thing. Cade Wiggins, 19-7. Chase Hunter struggles from the field, and this one was a real problem. Shiflin double-double, and Gerard had 8 and 9 in this one. Again, I'm not worried about Clemson. I think Clemson's still really good. I still have Clemson ranked above Memphis for the reason that they lost by 2 on the road. I believe that's in Clemson. They win. I believe it's on neutral. They win. I think they're a better team than Memphis. You're up 7.5, just couldn't close it out in a tough environment. I have Clemson ranked 14th, Memphis ranked 15th, so it's not that big of a difference there. I really like Memphis this year. 15th in the nation, I think, is a fair ranking. They've gone out in and now won some tough games this year. They went in and won against a Texas A&M team that's still very good. Now goes and beats an undefeated Clemson team. Clemson, not worried. 14th in the nation. you're still my highest ranked ACC team, which is kind of sad for the ACC. The highest ranked ACC team is 14th, but you're ranked with UNC losing, of course. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 ACC teams ranked, but you're still my highest. I still love Clemson, and this loss is not a bad loss. It'll be a quad 1 loss, so you shouldn't be worried if you're the Tigers there. Still have a really good season going. Ohio State beats UCLA in that CBS Sports undercard. UCLA is just not a good team this year. Plain and simple. You scored 60 points in the game there. You were up 1 at half, 23-22. It wasn't enough. Good defense, bad offense has been the story. They don't have a dynamic player. I mean, you lose a lot from last year's team. Jalen Clark, Jaime Jaquez, Amari Bailey, Tiger Campbell. Those are all 4 major players on that team, and you lose them. It's going to be tough to come back from that. And it's seen that Nick Cronin's team right now just doesn't have firepower enough. Good game from Robbie Gailey Jr., 19 in this one. Ohio State's 9-2. Got them on my radar to be a top 25 team. This team has improved from last year greatly, and I think they're a tournament level team. Last year was a disappointment, but Chris Holtman, underrated coach. And and Ohio State 9-2, looking good. UCLA. Well, the LA team's looking rough this year. Which I'll just say that the LA team's looking rough in the Pac-12 right now. Besides Arizona, do they have a top dog? Is the question? Is there another team in the Pac-12 that can contend with Arizona? I think it's Colorado, but besides that, man, I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. But I think Utah's a solid team. But again, Pac-12 looking a little weak in its last year besides the Wildcats, which we're about to get to their game. So, let's get to it. Arizona loses to Purdue in a tight one. 8-point loss there. Purdue dominant first half. Arizona plays pretty well in that second half. Keep it close there. I moved Purdue to number 1 nation. You know my feelings about Purdue. Number 1. Moved Arizona number 3. So my top 5 is Purdue, UConn, Arizona, Kansas, Houston is my top 5 teams there. Caleb Love, 29, pretty efficient 29 there. So I love Caleb Love, how he's been playing. Keyshawn Johnson had 24 in this one. Babalo gets outplayed by Edey in this one. Purdue has 3 players go for 20, 22 plus in that one. And that was my worry about Purdue is, can they consistently have another player that performs not to the level of Zach Edey, but at least giving him a good support? And they had 2 players that outperformed Zach Edey in that one. And if you can have that, Purdue's not going to lose a game this year. I guarantee that. Pele Larson had another efficient 10, but really no bench production from either team in this one, 4-2. But yeah, that's going to be a problem for some teams with that lack of depth if you get into foul trouble in this one, which they really did a good job of not doing. Zach Edey, 22-9, looked very good. Braden Smith, 26, and Fletcher Lawyer, 27. So they shot the 3 ball very, very well in this one. And you had, no one else really stepped up and had a great game. Lance Jones had 9, but it didn't matter. When you have 3 players score 28 points and your Zach Edey was your 3rd best scorer in this one, it's almost impossible to lose a game if you're Purdue. They looked really, really good. The Boilermakers are the best team in the country right now. 1 loss to Northwestern. That's not a bad loss on the road. Arizona suffers their first loss. Again, this game wasn't Indianapolis. Arizona was favored in that one, which is just a weird game. It was de facto home game for Purdue. But look, I think the Wildcats are still really good. They're obviously the best team in the Pac-12. I have them ranked still 3rd in the country. They look really good, but the Boilermakers, they won the greatest Maui field of all time, and now they go on and win and beat the number 1 team in the country here. Yeah, there's going to be games where teams can take out every player besides Zach Edey, and they can win if they struggle to shoot the ball. And every given day, any team can win, and especially with Purdue, if their 3 ball isn't falling, then they become really reliant on Zach Edey, and teams can just double team him and make people have other players make shots. And when that doesn't happen, Purdue's susceptible to an upset like we saw against Fairleigh Dickinson there. But this team is 1 year older, 1 year more experience there. and Purdue's legit team. Number one in the nation. They will be when the poll gets released. I'm not gonna be surprised at all when they become the number one team in the nation. Arizona will probably drop to 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. I would expect they'll be in the top 4. I have them 3, but I could see them putting Kansas above Arizona. Kentucky, with the freshman, ended up beating North Carolina there in the CBS Sports Classic. Rob Dillingham, 17. Good game from DJ Wagner. Good game from Reed Shepard. It was a team performance for Kentucky, and the experienced North Carolina could not deal with the youth there. Dillingham, 17 off the bench, wasn't efficient at 17. Struggled most of this game, but came alive more in that second half. DJ Wagner more consistent there, 14. Aaron Bradshaw, coming into his own, had 12 in this one. And yeah, it was really a two-man show for North Carolina with RJ Davis, who looking like one of the best players in the country. He's going to be an All-American level player this year, could win ACC Player of the Year. The level he's playing, he's North Carolina's best player. Cormac Ryan shoots the lights out of the ball in this one. 20, really good first half. Did struggle a little bit more in that second half. And let's talk about the Armando Bacot fall off. This guy 2 years ago when they made the national championship was pretty much crowned a top 3 player in the sport of college basketball. Rightfully so. He was dominant, double-doubles in every game, killing it. Was maybe the preseason national player of the year last year, or if not, was like a top 2, 3 candidate. Wasn't that good last year. North Carolina missed the tournament. This year, still expected to be elite. And he just isn't. He's just not an elite player. It was kind of like Oscar Tshiebwe, but Oscar Tshiebwe is better because Oscar Tshiebwe was more dominant. Getting offensive rebounds. Armando Bacot, I just don't. He doesn't really have an offensive bag. This team is RJ Davis dependent. And they just don't. I don't know if they're not getting the ball to Armando Bacot. He had 6 turnovers in this one. But he only gets 4 shot attempts in this one. I just don't think Armando Bacot is as good as everyone says he is, as the expectations were for him. And North Carolina right now suffers its 3rd loss there. And I dropped them down to 16th because they have some good wins. They beat Tennessee, which is a really good win, but that was at home. I have Tennessee now ranked 8th in the country, and North Carolina ranked 16th. I have Kentucky ranked 7th. I'm still super high in Kentucky because you see them at their best. I think they can win a national championship. Yes, they've laid some eggs. They've have a bad loss at home to UNCW. But at this point, I take wins more greatly than losses in this one, especially when you only have 2 losses. And Kentucky's beat some really good teams. The 2 losses are to UNCW and Kansas. So I'm not mad at all of the way Kentucky's playing. And look, they're freshmen. Every game they get more experience. They're going to be used to the bright lights, and they have players. Rob Dillingham's been amazing off the bench. Reed Shepard's been a revelation for this Kentucky team. I think they can win the SEC. I think they're the best team right now in the SEC. Calipari has a ball team that he hasn't had in a couple years now. And I love the classic Kentucky freshman type of teams that they've been lacking to have these last couple years. So good for Kentucky. Little worried about North Carolina. RJ Davis, though, does look like a beast. And yeah, shout out to Kentucky getting a nice win there. I moved them up. And then the last great game was Creighton, Alabama. That was such a good game there. Again, Alabama loses another high-scoring game. And I think Alabama's a good team. I think they're going to end up making the tournament here, but it's hard to keep giving this team credit for when you're playing close games, but you can't finish them. It's understandable to lose Purdue and Creighton. Those are 2 good teams, but you would like to pull one of those out. Good shooting games from Trey Alexander, who's just a great scorer. Baylor Scheinman. Kalkbrenner was a force down low, just throwing lobs to him. And Alabama played very well. They kept up. They made it a close game. Mark Sears looking like a really, really good player for them. Pringle had some good moments there. I still like Creighton. I know Creighton, they lost to UNLV earlier this week. I still have them ranked 12th. I see some people that are way lower in Creighton. I still think when Creighton is playing their style of basketball, they can beat anyone in the country. They can win the Big 12, the Big East. Alabama, the SEC is going to be a weird conference once you get into that middle terms. I think Alabama can separate themselves from those middle teams in there. But right now, they're just not winning ball games, and that's a concern for me. I think they have the potential to be great or at least be pretty good. But if you're not winning ball games, it's going to be hard to do that. Good win for the Creighton Blue Jays there. I got them, again, 12th in the nation there. I think that's a respectable number. Yeah, that was it for the major games. Some other notable results is Tennessee beat NC State by 9. BYU gets another pretty easy win to remain in my top 25. Ole Miss beats Cal by 10. Ole Miss still my top 25. Only one of the 4 undefeated teams left in the country there. So shout out to them. Virginia survives Northeastern with a Reese Beekman bucket. Shout out to Reese Beekman, 21 of their 56 points in this one. UVA survives. I have UVA ranked 21st right now. Going through some more. Any other notable results? I'm trying to look. FAU does beat St. Bonaventure by 10, so a good win. I'm pretty sure that's a true road game. So FAU looking pretty good. I have FAU just outside the top 10 at number 4, at number 11. Like, what? Why would I say just outside the top 10, number 4? I just can't speak sometimes. Sorry for this. JMU was down 1.5, but dominates second half, ends up winning by 17. They're one of the 4 undefeated teams. I have JMU ranked 17th in the nation. And Texas gets a good win there. Max A. 20 points to beat LSU. Good win for them. I have Texas just out of my top 25 there. No team fell out this week. And then yesterday, I don't really believe there's anything good. Illinois won. I think Syracuse is a tournament level team. They beat Oregon. Auburn easily beats USC. Bronny James had 5 points in this one. USC is just a check-in on Brownie these days. They're not a great basketball team. Auburn, pretty good basketball team. They're just outside my top 25. Just don't have space for them at the moment. Nebraska beat Kansas State, so maybe Nebraska is a tournament level team there. Shout out to the Cornhuskers. They're 9-2. Trying to make the tournament for the first time under Fred Hoiberg. Seton Hall got a nice win against Missouri in Missouri. I don't think that was a true home game, but good win for Seton Hall there. Maybe they can make a run in Big East play. And then Nevada's 9-1, got a win over a decent Hawaii team. But that's it. I'll share my top 25 right now. I got Purdue number 1, UConn 2, Arizona 3, Kansas 4, Houston 5, Marquette 6, Kentucky 7, Tennessee 8, Illinois 9, Colorado State 10. I know Colorado State has that loss, but there's top 10 team. Keep winning games. You're going to keep going up. Illinois just below Tennessee because they lost them. FAU 11, Creighton's 12, Oklahoma 13 undefeated. Could have them higher. I could understand that, but 13. I'm there on the Oklahoma train. They're 13th in the nation. I think that's respectable. 14th Clemson with 1 loss. Memphis 15th. 16 UNC. 17 JMU. 18 Baylor after that bad loss to Michigan State. 19 Duke. 20 Gonzaga. So the Zags are pretty low. It's probably the lowest Gonzaga's been in a minute. 21 Virginia, 22 Colorado, 23 Miami, 24 Ole Miss, and 25 BYU. So that's my top 25. And then for the next 2 days, there's nothing on Monday. Tonight is literal bone dry of games. So don't even turn on your TV to watch it. If you're looking for college basketball, I recommend doing something else with your life. And then Tuesday, there actually is some decent, I guess, like there's some Big East, Georgetown, Butler. That's not really anything special there. JMU tries to maintain being undefeated with a home game against Coppin State. They should be able to win. Yeah, and then we have, this is a good one, Virginia's at Memphis. this is a top 25 showdown I expect to be when the new rankings come out. When the new rankings come out today, that's a top 25 game. So that's actually a very good game. Memphis, I think, is going to win this game. We'll see Virginia going on a true road environment, which I don't know if they've done it all this year. And it's not going to be it's not an easy place to play. Memphis coming off a good win against Clemson. They're experienced, more experienced than a Virginia team, but that should be a really good one. That one's at 7 on Tuesday there. And then there's another better game later, I think. Was there a better game? Maybe not. Oh, the other good game was Marquette Providence. This is just a true road game. Providence is a pretty solid team. I think they're 9-2. I think they're a tournament level team this year. With wins over Wisconsin, they have an OT loss to Kansas State and a loss to Oklahoma, but those are respectable losses there, and they have a good win. We'll see. This is a road game for Marquette, so not an easy one there. So that's another one to keep your eye out. Big East play starting. Should be going. Providence wins that game, they'll probably be ranked. It's just how it works. You beat a top 10 team, and you have a good record, you'll probably be ranked. So yeah, that's it. Tuesday we'll have some good games. We'll be back on Wednesday for another episode of some CBB talk. Thanks for watching this one. Peace out.